Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tiger Talk. Gerard Wellbrock with you as we talk Fort Hays State basketball with women's coach Tony Hobson and men's coach Mark Johnson.
On the Tiger Sports Network, this is Tiger Talk, live from the Golden Q in Hays. The Golden Q, dining, billiards, and more at 809 Ash, the Golden Q. If the game is on, we're open. Tiger Talk is also brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors. Golden Belt Bank of Hays and Ellis, providing the best in-home loans to the Tiger community since 1920. BTI, your John Deere dealer, with locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. The Taco Shop, dine in, carry out, or delivery. You've never had it so good. And G&L Tire and Automotive, complete automotive care and tires for all driving conditions. 201 East 8th on the Bricks in downtown Hays. Now, the voice of the Tigers, Gerard Wellbrock.
And a good Monday afternoon, and welcome to Tiger Talk. This is Gerard Wellbrock. I'll be joined by Fort Hays State head women's basketball coach Tony Hobson and men's coach Mark Johnson as we talk Fort Hays State basketball. The Tigers, for the women, getting set to launch their season tomorrow night. That's probably the big news since we talked last. The Emporia State and Washburn games have been rescheduled. The women will play Washburn tomorrow at 5:30. And then 2 weeks from tomorrow on December 15th, the makeup for Emporia State. Those were the two games the Tigers had to postpone due to COVID protocol last week. The Tiger men have not played since they started off with a couple of tough 2-point losses at home to Washburn and Emporia State. The first conference doubleheader for the Tigers this Saturday afternoon. We head north to Kearney to take on the Lopers in a 2 o'clock tip for the women and a 4 o'clock tip for the men. So we certainly hope you can join us for all the action right here along the Tiger Sports Network, of course, over on Tiger Radio Mix 103. But we are ready to go for Tiger Talk, and we do bring in the head coach of the Fort Hays State women, Tony Hobson. Tomorrow may be the most anticipated tip-off in Fort Hays State women's history, just in the fact we'll be flipping to December. Who knows the last time the first game was in December, but with just the anticipation of whether or not there'd be a season, and then we finally get one, and then the COVID protocols you have to postpone. Crossing our fingers, but hopefully tomorrow your team finally able to hit the floor and get the season underway. I'm sure everybody very, very excited.
Well, I'm hoping we can get started. We're the only team left on the men or women's side out of our conference that hasn't played at least a game. So we're hoping to get going, and our kids, we were excited a couple weeks ago and ready to go, and you find out a day before. It's kind of hard to take a step back. Basically, everybody was out for a week to 10 days, depending on the situation. And we got 3 kids back for 15 minutes of practice on Monday. And then we had 4 kids. Another person joined us on Tuesday. Then 3 more joined us on Wednesday. And finally, by Friday, we had 13 out of our 14 kids back that we'll have for our game tomorrow for practice. So we're basically, after being gone for a while, then we come back and we're going to have about 3 practices before we tip it off. So, it's you say it's most anticipated, and maybe it is. I don't remember being myself after about 1,000 college games. I'm a little anxious myself, just because we've never been in this situation this late in the year, tipping off for the first time without, it's one of those things where if something's not going to go right, I'm not sure we'll be able to fix it on the run here this early in the year. It just makes you a little apprehensive, and we just need to get it out of the way. You can't have your second game until you have your first one.
It's funny because we talk about, early season, especially the exhibition games, but, you've mentioned in the past where if they do this, I mean, we've never practiced it, and it's been too early to practice maybe an inbound situation or what you want to do offensively or defensively. I don't know if that's ever been the case before a first game, but yeah, it'll be very interesting with just a limited practice and almost in a way starting over. Just kind of rely on your ability to the basketball IQ, I guess, becomes very important in this situation for you guys.
It does, and just having a little experience at the correct positions will help us. But a lot of times we'll go into that first preseason scrimmage before the exhibition games, and I'll come out of those saying, well, okay, we didn't know how to do this, and we don't have an inbounds play for that. And so you just kind of go into those a little blind, not totally prepared, knowing that you don't need to be. And then they kind of tell you what you need to work on. And then the exhibition game, you take another step. And then those pre-conference games, you're basically ready to go. But a lot of times you don't have all your stuff in yet, even then. So it'll be, we have to be a little more prepared for this first game than normal. And we should be. We've had more time to do it. There's really no excuse. And I don't want it to sound like that. It's just when you have not a whole, but a lot of new players on your team, there might be some stuff out there that looks a little goofy.
You mentioned your players slowly trickling back in and being allowed to practice and then now ready to play. Maybe take us through the protocols. I mean, we talked a little bit last week about the testing and how that's done, but what is the time frame for someone who tests positive, or maybe through the contact tracing was a close contact, how long they have to miss, and then once they're back, what they can do, and when they're finally cleared to go, I guess, full strength?
Well, I'm not sure I'm the right one to ask because there's so many different ones. And it's changed so many times. It changed from the first time we had a couple tests early in August when they first came back. They've shortened the quarantine time a little bit, but actually the kids that test positive can come back quicker than the ones that are quarantined. So on Monday, we had the 3 kids that had tested positive. They could come back and start practicing, but there's some restrictions there. The first day they can only practice 15 minutes. So 15 minutes isn't very long. That's activity. I mean, you can have a shooting drill in between where they're just shooting free throws or something. And then the second day they can go 15 minutes, the third day 30 minutes, fourth day 45 minutes, and then the fifth day you can finally go full practice. And that all comes from early on. There was a couple kids that had a heart, some kind of heart situation, which, any virus can attack the heart. And this one is no different. So we had our positive test come back then, and then we had our past positives. So we had 4 of those that have had it before. They could come back Wednesday, and as long as they had no indication of having any symptoms, they could go full blast on Wednesday. And then we had the never positives. They had to take a test on Wednesday, and we couldn't even let them practice at all until we got test results back. So for us, getting the test results is difficult because we send those tests clear to Parsons, Kansas. So Paige drove the test down Monday morning at 6 a.m. And we got those back, and then we tested again on Friday for tomorrow's game, and she got to drive down there again. So those are kind of the 3 different levels. The people back first were the positive test. They couldn't practice very long at a time. And then past positives, and then never positives that had to come in and take another test. So that was our Thanksgiving vacation. We were just running around, getting tests taken, trying to get a little conditioning back and getting prepared to try to play a game this week.
I'm sure when Paige Lunsford signed up to be an assistant, that's what she knew she'd be putting some miles into, watch players and recruiting, but to take tests to Parsons, but all part of the job, I guess, in 2020 and 2021. It's her dream job. And, I'm not sure there's any other reason to go to Parsons. I shouldn't say that. I'm sure there's nice people there, but that's a long ways to take for tests. Yep, I hear you there. Tiger Talk brought to you in part by BTI. They're your area John Deere dealer. They've got locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, our family in partnership with your family. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more with women's coach Tony Hobson. You're listening to Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wurtenberger Construction. And welcome back to Tiger Talk. We are live at the Golden Q in Hayes, talking Fort Hays State basketball with women's coach Tony Hobson. Men's coach Mark Johnson will be along shortly. The women hosting Washburn tomorrow night, their season opener. 5:30 tip, 5:05, our Auto World pregame over on Tiger Radio Mix 103. Both the men and women scheduled to head to Kearney on Saturday to take on the Lopers of Nebraska Kearney. Tiger fans, look for the new Fort Hays State Athletics app. Instantly receive the latest news and information concerning Fort Hays State Athletics, including real-time alerts and game day details. The new FHSU Athletics app is free and available on the iTunes App Store or the Google Play Store. Search FHSU Athletics and download for free to your smartphone or your tablet. That just went online today. It is an awesome app. You want to check it out for all things related Fort Hays State, including women's basketball, who will hopefully take the floor tomorrow night as they host the Washburn Ichabods. We're joined by women's coach Tony Hobson, and so many newcomers. We've talked about a little bit last week. We got 6 freshmen on the squad. I don't know if this extra layoff or extra time with the postponements is a good or a bad thing for them. I know they're excited to get their college careers underway. A little bit more time for you guys to work with them once you finally are able to get them back to practice. But I'm sure they're eager to go. And it comes a point you just got to get out there and play some basketball and see where they start from.
Well, you're exactly right, and I don't know that we're any farther now than we were the day before we were ready to play them before, because there was, everything was so disjointed. First of all, there was no activity for any of them for a week, so they probably lost a little bit of their conditioning, and then you come back and you're a few of you here, a few of you there. We're just trying to get back to the point that we were prior to this first little mess hitting the fan, and I think we're close to being there. I don't think our conditioning probably is quite back there, but you can't use 2 or 3 days and try to get them in shape when you have a game to play. You still want to have a little left for your game. So hopefully we can kind of work through that, and maybe by Saturday be back to where we need to be.
Well, and you've got, there's some young players, but it looks like even though it's youthful depth, there is some depth. You've got a lot of numbers. So especially early on here, as you try to, as you said, kind of get back into that playing condition, playing shape, may have to rely on some of that depth.
Well, it isn't like we were planning on playing 6 kids or even 7. I mean, we'll go 10 deep, more than likely, maybe more than that. So we're capable of doing that without dropping off very much, if any. So that's one good thing, is that we do have decent depth, I believe, and you go into a lot of seasons thinking you might have depth, and you end up finding out that you don't. But I don't think that's the case this year. I think we can. There's a lot of kids on our team that I trust to be able to do the job right, and they've shown it in practice. It's been a difficult time for me just deciding on, who should we put out there to begin with, and who should we bring off the bench, because there's just not much separation.
Have you been happy with how they've progressed? I know it's kind of a weird year to compare it, when you have, freshmen and where you expect them to be, and with the way the season has gone so far. But have you been happy with their progression and feel they're ready for the battles of college basketball?
Well, I think so. I think the main thing with especially the freshmen, in their mind, are they ready? Do they think they're ready? And we've got, and maybe that's just the beauty of youth. They just don't know any better, so they aren't nervous. And I think that they believe that they belong and that they can play. And I think a lot of it is just that. Just once it's in your head that you're fine and you can do that, I think they'll be able to handle themselves. And I'm sure there's going to be bumps and bruises along the way, but I think they're as ready as they can be right now. And along with that, some of our returners didn't play much last year, but they're going to be playing a lot more this year, and they've really came along too, I think. And part of that is, as you bring new players in that are competitive, and that's what we always just try to do. Our practices are competitive, and there's nothing taken for granted by anybody, by returners thinking that they're going to step in and take somebody's place. It's just a daily competition on who's going to play, and I think that really makes your team better in the long run for sure.
We're live at the Golden Q in Hayes. It is Tiger Talk, talking some women's basketball with Coach Tony Hobson. Program brought to you in part by G&L Tire and Automotive. Complete automotive care and tires for all driving conditions. G&L Tire and Automotive, 201 East 8th on the bricks in downtown Hayes. We've had a lot of talk about the team. We're going to take another break. We're going to come back and talk about an opponent, Washburn, who the Tigers are set to host tomorrow night at Gross Coliseum, the season opener for 4 Day Stay. We'll talk about the Ichabods and have a little bit of time, maybe take a preview look at Saturday's game with Nebraska Kearney. It's Tiger Talk. We're live at the Golden Q in Hayes here along the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at hayespost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, Real Country. 99 KZ Country.
Welcome back to Tiger Talk. Gerard Walbrock, joined by women's coach Tony Hobson. We're live at the Golden Q in Hayes. The Golden Q, they've got their Monday grilled cheeseburger meal special, domestic pints, single wells, all on special. Of course, Monday Night Football tonight. KU, Kentucky tomorrow night. The Golden Q, if the game's on, they're open. Don't forget, you can also listen to all 4 Day State Athletics anywhere on any device. You'll find our audio stream on Hayes Post, and you can listen on your mobile device. Search Mix 103.3 KGLS Hayes on the iTunes App Store or the Google Play Store and download it to your smartphone or tablet. Don't forget, tell your smart speaker to play KJLS when the Tigers are in action. Washburn, the Ichabods, 18 wins a year ago, kind of an up and down, had their stretches where they played well, maybe some they didn't play as well. They've got a decent group back. They've got some new faces to blend in as well. You had a chance to watch them play Kearney in their opener on Saturday. Your thoughts on your opponent tomorrow night, the Ichabods?
Well, they're kind of in the same spot we are. They graduated a lot of kids that played a lot of minutes for them. They do have an advantage of having one game under their belt. But again, that's been quite a while. That's been a while back. And they're going to be, what I noticed and what they always do, they play hard, and they're defensively, I think they're pretty good. They have good quickness on the perimeter. They have a couple new kids that will play a big part for them. They have a good, I don't know if she was their leading scorer, but she might have been one of their leading scorers last year. Bentley is a good, solid player, a senior. She can score a variety of ways, so she can be problematic. They have two post players that both played for them last year back. They're not big, but they're fairly athletic and strong. And then they're going to do a lot of the same things they've always done. They really get after you on defense. They're physical. So I don't know. I think they're probably kind of like us. They're kind of a question mark. I'm not sure they know what they have, and if they don't know, I don't know how I would. But I know that they will play hard, and it'll be a tough first game for us. That's for sure.
And you mentioned Hunter Bentley, returning all-conference pick, two-time honorable mention. She kind of seems to be the heart and soul and makes them go. And the way they run their offense, they really can put some pressure on a defense. And in your scenario with such a young team, it seems like understanding collegiate defense for freshmen, for some of them anyway, that seems to take the longest to adjust to in the speed of the game of college basketball.
Well, for most of them, I would say if you get a freshman in here that is defensively in good shape to play in our league, it's an anomaly, really. You just don't find them very often because high school defense, you can't be very physical, and especially in the post, you're not allowed much contact, and really you can't play good post defense without some contact. It's just got to be the legal kind. So I think defensively our freshmen are as far along as any I've had in recent memory. A couple of them are really solid defenders. They still have a lot to learn, but that's one thing we do. We kind of tailor our defense. We change stuff for each game. how we're going to guard certain things and certain screens, and depending on their personnel and what we think we can do to them. So that's a big change, is just how to process all this information. Like, well, what are we going to do when this happens? And what are we supposed to do? You just get a lot of questions, and it's difficult because of, like I said, there's just a lot of changes from the high school to what we do defensively. And then you have full court defense. You might have a trapping half court defense. You might switch, you might not switch. You might, there's a lot of variables. So we have smart kids, and that helps a lot defensively because we can do more things to the other team.
Real quick, just your thoughts on Kearney. Picked to finish second. They had a really good season a year ago, and look at the roster. A lot of those same names are back. That'll be a big test for your first road game on Saturday.
Well, it will be, and they have everybody back, plus a couple new freshmen. So they have their whole team back intact. Probably could have been picked to win it. They already beat Emporia, who was picked to win it. So they're going to be right there, and they're really consistent. They've got good depth, and they always play us well. And that'll be a tough one going up there for our second game if we get this one in tomorrow night. I am glad that we got this one tomorrow lined up, so we can get a game, and I think that will help us going up to Kearney on Saturday.
Well, should be lots of fun. I know I'm excited. I know a lot of Tiger Nation excited. I'm sure you and your players are as well to finally get this thing underway. But hopefully all the test results are good on the Washburn end, and we'll get some basketball tomorrow for Fort Hays State and the women out at the Coliseum.
Well, I hope so. I hope to see everybody out here tomorrow.
Should be a lot of fun. Tony, as always, we appreciate the time, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, thanks, Gerard.
There you go. That's head women's coach Tony Hobson. The Tigers and Washburn, 5:30 tomorrow at a Gross Coliseum. We'll be on the air with our Auto World pregame show at 5:05, and the women head to Kearney Saturday. That'll be a 2 o'clock tip in our pregame coverage of the Auto World pregame show at 1:35 from the Health and Sports Center. Tiger Talk presented by the Taco Shop. Dine in, carry out, or use the Taco Shop app for contactless delivery. The Taco Shop celebrating 50 years in 2020. You've never had it so good. We will take another break. When we come back, we'll talk some men's basketball with head coach Mark Johnson. We're live at the Golden Q in Hays. It's Tiger Talk here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here.
It's Hayes' greatest hits.
Love it.
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM. Do you believe in love story?
Well, 94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
And welcome back to Tiger Talk. We're live at the Golden Q in Hays, and getting ready for Fort Hays State basketball. The women we mentioned getting their season started tomorrow against Washburn. The men will resume their season on Saturday if all goes well. That'll be up at the Health and Sports Center, taking on the Lopers in Nebraska Kearney. We are live at the Golden Q, where they're giving away 2 free hams or turkeys every day until Christmas. Free to sign up. Do so when you come in and order at the bar. They're also drawing for a chance to win a TV, a cooler, a fridge, or a grill from 8th Street Liquor. So the next time you're here at the Q, you'll want to sign up for those great prizes here before the holidays. The grilled cheeseburger is the meal special again today, and they've got specials on domestic pints and single wells. Karaoke on Tuesdays. 35-plus TVs. They've got the new bigger ones throughout. And, of course, Monday Night Football, KU Kentucky tomorrow. Stop on by the Golden Q and Hays at the game's on with their open. We are joined now by men's coach Mark Johnson, and a little bit of strange schedule with the reduced conference only. You played the 2 games. Now you get a couple of weeks before you resume things up at Kearney. Even though they counted, it's kind of like you got your exhibitions or your early season, and now you kind of get into more of a routine. But a little bit strange to play a couple, then have 2 whole weeks of practice time, which in some ways probably good. In some ways, maybe just rather get back out there and play games.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a lot of practice. You know, we started the season late, so we practiced more before that opening weekend, and so then you play 2 games, and now here you are, like you said, 2 weeks of no games. And so, I mean, I think that's something we're fighting through. I mean, that's a lot of practicing. And then even after this week, we don't play for a whole – we only play one game. So really our first semester is kind of difficult, and we got to fight through. That second semester kind of gets you more, hopefully, you know, you're playing a lot of games, playing twice a week and becoming more of a basketball season. But this is tough because we talk about all the time in practice every day, you're either getting a little bit better or a little bit worse, and you really can't see that. You know, you can't see that at the moment. You know, all of a sudden you wake up and it's been 10 days of bad practices, slipping a little bit, and now you've made a significant drop, and that's the thing we're fighting. But it is a challenge. I mean, that's a lot of practice. You know, the guys are here they want to get out there and play some games.
How do you think they've handled it? How do you think they've done in their practice time?
Oh, you know, again, I think as well as be expected. I mean, has it been perfect? Do I think our practices have always been great? You know, probably not. But I mean, also, it's human nature. You know what I mean? And I think they're excited to get back out there and another opportunity to play.
And I guess for your young guys, and you've got plenty of them seeing some significant duty. I mean, now they've kind of got a taste of it, some action under their belt, and a reference point from now to start from and try to improve. So I'd imagine even though the monotony of it, as you've kind of very well chronicled, is challenging, but a chance to play a few games and now get some time to maybe hone on some of those things that you guys identified as areas you have to get better at. Yeah, I mean, I think the areas for us, you know, we had 2 winnable games. You know, it just came down really, you know, in the last possession for both nights. And, you know, I think it comes down just paying attention to detail and understanding the importance of everything you do. You know, we try to emphasize that it doesn't matter if it's, you know, 15 minutes to go in the first half or 12 minutes to go in the game. Every possession leads up to that. But, gosh, in the last 5 minutes of a close game, you have to be no mess ups, you know, no mental breakdowns, no execution breakdowns, no toughness breakdowns. And we really just had a lot of those, you know, and giving up an offensive rebound, a free throw offensive rebound, you know, not valuing the ball, having some silly turnovers, not making important free throws, you know, not executing what we want to do defensively the last 2 or 3 possessions of the game. I mean, those are things that you know, some of these guys have been good players because they're just more talented than everybody else on their local high school programs and teams. And, well, we're not more talented than everybody else. You know what I mean? Now you're playing guys that are every bit as good as you or better, and what in your actions matter. And to win a close game, you know, teams here are going to execute. They're going to be tough. They're going to go to the offensive glass. They're going to do things that maybe at their previous stops it didn't require those things to get your win, because you're either that much better than them, or the other team was playing just like us, you know, not being real physical and real tough down the stretch of the game. And that's just not going to happen in MIAA. And I think if you look at both teams, probably the difference in the game, you look at Emporia and Washburn and us, is just experience. I mean, they all were everybody out there. I mean, the 2 guards from Emporia, I think we played arguably 2 of the top 3 backcourts in the league. I think Northwest Missouri, I mean, is probably number 1, obviously, but I think, you know, Washburn with Lewis, Mashoff, and Guyman are pretty good. And I'm telling you, Downing and Turner are pretty good from Portland. Those are 2, I believe they might both be, I know they're at least seniors. They might have both been 5th-year seniors. I can't remember that or not. But, I mean, I think that's where the experience and the physicality of a 23-year-old person compared to some 18-year-old kids we got running out there were a big difference in the game. Defense always seems to be, especially for the young guys, the part that takes the longest, and we saw a few of the breakdowns in each of those games. You feel that's something that you've been able to address a little bit, and they're getting better? Is this one of those deals you got to live through it? You got to go out there and play games to kind of fight through it and learn all those things? Yeah, I mean, I think they know what to do. It's just about the importance of going to do it. I mean, I think like you talk about, I mean, this is a hard league. You know what I mean? This is top league in the country at our level. You know what I mean? And the top teams in our league are probably, you know, top 15 teams in the country, you know, not just Northwest Missouri, but to be the 3rd best team in our league, you're probably arguably a top 10 team in the country in Division II. So I think our guys are figuring out what it takes to be successful in this league. And it takes the extra effort, extra concentration, extra toughness,
all those things. It's not just going to magically happen. You got to make it happen with your actions. And I think that's something that they're going through. And hey, I know it was a long time ago, longer than I want to remember, but I mean, I remember going through that. I didn't know what it required to be successful. And it took either that fight or flight. You know, I mean, you're either gonna will or you're gonna figure it out to survive. And hopefully our guys eventually will figure this out. If you want to survive, you gotta figure it out and fight.
Offensively, you didn't shoot threes particularly well against Emporia. You shot them great against Washburn. I'm sure what this team is somewhere in the middle there. But I know some concerns was maybe who's going to score for you outside of Jared Vistam. Do you feel maybe a little better about the offense, or are they a little ahead of schedule than you might think?
Yeah, I think some guys did some good things offensively. Hey, we were perfectly fine for Washburn offensively to win that game. And Emporia, I agree, we're probably somewhere in between. But like we said, I think rebounding and shooting is a concern for our team this year, just without some guards out there. But offensively, I really like our biggest issue we're having right now is we just really don't have a 3-man. You know what I mean? We're playing big guys at the 3, or we had to go undersized against Emporia late in the game, which they're an awfully big team trying to play Alvin at the 3. I think some things we're trying to look at is maybe it's kind of that decision. Do we move Jared to the 3? Because I think Jared's kind of more capable from a shooting standpoint to play the 3, but then you worry, are you taking away his ability, his, post, high post, get fouled, get to the foul line, that kind of area. So I think we might slide him a little bit more to the 3 and play B more as his traditional 4. Because B can, I think B's offense would elevate if he was put in where he needs to be. And, he's a guy right now that's being pushed out of position. And so we might tinker with that and see if just changing positions a little bit throughout the game makes a difference or not.
Now the Tigers got another week to practice and get ready for Nebraska Kearney up at the Health and Sports Center on Saturday. Hey, Tiger fans, told you about it a little bit earlier, but look for the new Fort Hays State Athletics app. Instantly receive the latest news and information concerning Fort Hays State Athletics, including real-time alerts and game day details. The new FHSU Athletics app, free and available on the iTunes App Store or the Google Play Store. Search FHSU Athletics and download to your smartphone or tablet. Tiger Talk presented in part by the Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis. They've been providing the best at home loans to the Tiger community since 1920. To learn more, visit goldenbeltbank.com. Golden Belt Bank, one story at a time. We're live at the Golden Q in Hayes. We'll take our final break. Come back and talk about the Lopers when we return with head coach Mark Johnson. It's Tiger Talk from the Golden Q and on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
Fact: 8th Street Liquor is where good times start. Next fact: 8th Street Liquor has the best selection and prices on beer, liquor, and wine. Okay, I don't want to bore you with all the facts, but the fact of the matter is, you just can't get better than 8th Street Liquor. Yep, 8th Street Liquor, where good times start. That's the fact. Jack? Oh yes, they have plenty of Jack too.
Welcome back to Tiger Talk. We're live at the Golden Q in Hayes, talking Fort Hays State basketball. A reminder that the Golden Q giving away 2 free hams or turkeys every day until Christmas. Free to sign up. Just do it when you make your order at the bar. Also drawing for winners to win a TV, a cooler, a fridge, or a grill from 8th Street Liquor. So next time you're in there, you can sign up to win all of those great Christmas gift ideas. Of course, the Golden Q, the game is on. They're open, 35-plus TVs now up and running. They've replaced some of them with big screens. Of course, Monday Night Football tonight. Big KU Kentucky game tomorrow night. So come on by the Golden Q if the game's on. They're open. Talking basketball with Fort Hays State's Mark Johnson. The Tigers' 2-week layoff between games had the 2 tough 2-point losses to Emporia State and Washburn to start the year, and now head to Kearney, a Loper team that, like yourself, 0-2. They were shorthanded for their first 2. Had some players out because of the COVID protocol, but and the players they missed, a couple of them starters, key contributors from last year, guys they're counting on. It'll be a much different Kearney team that you'll play in all likelihood than the ones that were out there for their opening weekend last weekend.
Yeah, no question. They had 3 guys out with COVID. I mean, one, the Walker kid was, I believe, their second leading scorer last year, guard, and then the Luger kid inside. He's their only size, 6'8". And you look at the Clausen kid from Washburn, ended up having a career night just because I don't think Kearney put a guy out on the floor all weekend that was over 6'5". And the Luger kid will change that. And then Sam Morris has played a lot of games there so really they're missing about 2 starters, possibly 3. And obviously that we're finding out ourselves that makes a difference. You know what I mean? And with Kearney going full strength, they'll be much better team than what they wore this weekend. I'm sure they'll be excited to have all those guys back and be ready to play. I mean, we're going to have to come out here. It's our first road game with a young group. It'll be interesting how we handle that and understand the importance of, on the road, defense and toughness even becomes more vital. At home, you got to have it, but you can kind of sometimes on your home floor, home energy, your own baskets, you can kind of make some big shots and offense can kind of carry you. On the road, that doesn't happen unless you're, the caliber of Northwest Missouri offensively. I mean, we're going to have to go out there and guard at a high level and keep them off the glass and then go down and earn some good baskets on our end.
And I know they've got limited fans there, pretty much just, family members of players, but that's always a tough place to play. And a lot of it is who you're playing, but for whatever reason, and you found that out last year, that's a challenging place, especially seems like for Fort Hays State to play.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that as coaching staff, obviously Lindenwood was our kryptonite forever, yeah. But I mean, we talk about Lindenwood, Central Missouri, Kearney are the 3 places that we just seem to struggle. And, it's a day trip, and then you go the other way. We play extremely well at White Auditorium in Emporia, and we do pretty well in Topeka too. So it's just kind of interesting that I don't know, after it's happened so many years, you kind of think, well, it's not just a coincidence. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's the spacing, of the rims and the backdrops, whatever it may be, but we have not played well very often up there. And hopefully this is the year we do, and we're capable of doing it. And, you just got to make some shots early, really got to make shots early in each half. I think at times last year we made shots early in the game and got us off to a great start. But then you come out in the second half and you almost have to do it again. We couldn't make anything in the start the second half. I really feel like up at Kearney, especially for us, for whatever reason, it's really the first 5 minutes, everybody says, of each half is important. But I think for us, it's really important offensively. You have some guys make some shots and kind of take the lid off the rim for us.
All right, sounds good. Well, stay safe. Have a good week of practice, and we'll see you Saturday up in Kearney.
All right, thanks, Gerard.
There you go, Mark Johnson, head coach of the Tigers. Again, they don't play again until this Saturday. 4 o'clock tip for the men. It'll be the second half of the men's and women's doubleheader, which gets started at 2. Our coverage begins at 1:35. And, of course, we'll have the women tomorrow. Tiger women in Washburn, 5:30 tip, 5:05 with the Auto World pregame show. Tiger Talk is brought to you from the Golden Q in Hays by these premier Tiger sponsors, the Taco Shop. You've never had it so good. Golden Belt Bank of Hays and Ellis, one story at a time. BTI, your area John Deere dealer, and G&L Tire and Automotive. They're on the bricks in downtown Hays. And, of course, the Golden Q just east of campus on A Street. The Golden Q, if the game's on, we're open. We'll see you again next Monday, 12:15 for Tiger Talk from the Golden Q in Hays and on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wurtenberger Construction.